have to sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you. Stay here any longer. Not now. I have to sort this out on my own. Without the council. And without you.
Unseen for generations, a Dyad in the Force.
Hey, I am not bold enough to do an actual impression. Not yet. I'm going to workshop it. I'll get back to y'all next week. Anyhow, thank you for coming to Dyad in the Force. Today, we are doing all Obi-Wan all the time. We had the teaser drop, and it's super exciting. Just lots of cool little nuggets in here. We brought on some big Obi-Wan fans. And for all of y'all, we have an Obi-Wan quiz that we'll be going through at the end. But unfortunately, you're going to be going up against Julia Christine. So it's... but second place is good. Second place is good. Anyhow, yeah, how's everyone doing?
I mean, you've cursed me now, but that's probably good to give me a good sort of jinx at the beginning, so I don't get too full of myself.
We have a fan in the chat. I love you, Julia. Go, Julia, go. By Commander
Thank you.
Scythe.
I'll do my best.
Now,
Go,
of course,
Julia. Go, Julia.
Anytime we do a quiz or a trivia on this show, it is not for the competition, if I could English. It is just for fun, you know. But the other half of Star Wars English Clash is in the chat as well. ASAD Astro or Fern, always Fern. Shout out to Fern. This is our Obi-Wan Kenobi party. This is Obi-Wan Kenobi Day. For Dyad and Force at least. Obi-Wan Kenobi Day is May 25th. Officially, and we are trying. Our applications are in. I don't know if any other podcasts have submitted applications, but Dyad in the Force and High Ground applications are in for Star Wars Celebration, and hopefully we will be selected and be able to attend with Dyad in the Force. We'll bring a couple of people onto the panel and just have a blast at Celebration. But first and foremost, I want to introduce our panel. So we'll start with Chase. Introduce yourself. Where can we find your content? And yes, this is your first appearance on Dyad in the Force.
Yeah, it is. Wow. This is maybe I did a community episode once.
Oh no, you've hung out on the High Ground.
Definitely been on the High Ground.
For both the community and an actual episode.
Yeah.
and
So,
we're happy to have
it's-
you on Dyad.
This is my first Dyad. Heck yeah. Yeah. So I'm Chase. You can find me at Forward Into the Black on TikTok, also on Twitch and YouTube, and you can check out the podcast I have recently started called Rogue Council. We're currently just going through the movies right now, the Star Wars movies, of course, and doing more like in-depth analysis, more philosophical analysis. So yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Welcome to Dyad in the Force, and then we're gonna go with Malik, who's also first time appearance, I believe, outside of joining in after Voyage of Destruction, right?
Yes, this is my I was on that episode again, but yeah, this is my first official a part of the panel planned ahead episode.
So introduce yourself to everyone.
Very excited to be here. I'm excited to talk Kenobi and all good things. Oh yes, I'm Malik, otherwise known as the Jedi Smark on TikTok. I have a podcast. We actually just read our 1 year anniversary. Hot's a podcast. Choco and Star Wars Lawyer and Aggie was actually just on it the other day, so that episode's coming out soon. But yes, that's pretty much me. I'm very excited because Kenobi. Yes.
You're excited to Kenobi. Awesome. Last and certainly not least, we have Julia. Introduce yourself to everyone. I mean, this is
Hello.
I think your fourth time.
I actually can't count. I don't know how to count, so
Gotcha.
that's not. You don't ask me. Put my braid on the wrong side. I realize I'm covering up Obi-Wan's head. I'm so sorry, Obi-Wan. But yeah, I'm
Give him a
Julia
sweet
Christine
haircut.
77. Just a little addition. Julia Christine 77 on TikTok, and that's it for social media. All the other apps have are scarier, so just on TikTok really. And then Fern and I have a podcast called Star Wars English Class, which is exactly what it sounds like. And we are actually I think season 2, we're going to start up season 2 here. Our season 2 opener, I believe, is going to be all about Obi-Wan. So that's the plan, is to do a deep character analysis of his character as our sort of season 2 premiere, I guess. And that's something to look forward to. We'll see when we get it you recorded and uploaded. It's the school year. We're both sort of busy with that. But yeah, so on TikTok and Star Wars English Class podcast.
Awesome. We're thrilled to have everyone here. Really quickly, I want to shout out people in the chat: St. Pat's, Harith Productions, The Podwans, Jordy Jedi. Quick shout out to the Nerdy Gunners podcast. I was on there, and their first episode released today. So, Connor, if you are in the chat, please drop that link so that people can watch that episode and subscribe to your channel. Let's see here. We have Darth Choco in the chat.
Yes, we do. Handsome gentleman, I've heard.
We have Chris, Star Wars
Gun the
Lawyer.
Clone Wars has.
Camilla's in the chat. Escape Reality Films. Thank you guys for tuning in. So yeah, this is the episode. I have nothing scripted or planned for the entire episode because Obi-Wan Kenobi dropped unbeknownst, at least to me, this week. I woke up and then I saw links on my feed, and I was like, well, this is just fun. So I did the reaction really quickly and did some videos, and Star Wars is revitalized. So jump in anytime you guys want to say something about this trailer, because this is a conversational podcast. Just what did you guys think? How many of you cried?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I was in my Target, I was in my break room at Target, and my 2 coworkers beside me, I'm just there going my mouth hanging open. I was like, oh, it was a mess.
It was my day off, and I was sleeping in, so I was still in bed, and I was like, oh, I'll check my phone, and why is everyone talking about Obi? Oh no. So I'm in my bed, I'm like, oh, it's time to watch the Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer, and as soon as Duel of the Fates came on, I lost it. I was a wreck, just in bed alone, just I can't pause. I was like, nope. Not ready.
The Phantom Menace Mew song. Mew song. That's the new word. Mew song. Shout out to Cal in the chat. Heck yeah, all the awesome folks in one place. Julia, how did you feel about it?
So I have, in order to survive, have sort of tricked myself into thinking that this is all an elaborate prank. And so I'm keeping an emotional distance between me and this show by just being like, well, that was a funny little prank they pulled on us when they released that trailer. That's a lot of effort to put in for a show that doesn't exist, but I appreciate the effort. But yes, it was very emotional. There's sort of still this, like, for me, again, that like emotional distance, I think, because I'm simply not, it doesn't seem real that this could possibly be happening. So because of that, I think I need to like rewatch the trailer a couple times, because the first couple times I was just kind of like, it was like happening and I wasn't even really absorbing it because I was just like so surprised. And then earlier that day we had already had the pictures revealed, and so it was sort of the double whammy of like I was already reeling from like seeing a new picture of Obi-Wan Kenobi for the first time in 17 years, you know, or how long has it been, right? So
yeah, it's been a minute.
Ewan as Obi-Wan, right? So it was kind of overwhelming, and I think it's one of those situations where it'll hit me for real eventually. Maybe at 3:00 in the morning on May 25th is when it will finally like occur to me that the show is real. But yeah, that's how I've sort of like kept myself sane. It's just kind of like pretending it's not happening. It's just getting harder now because it is seeming more like it is actually going to exist.
Now I can only imagine the denial that Julia would be in if they announced like Corky in some way, shape, or form.
Like, stop. I was gonna use adult language, but I would be convinced that they were personally messing with me. That's sort of how I feel about that. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they had a personal vendetta against you at this point.
Well, it's either a vendetta or they want to just vendetta, or they just want it to be over. Is kind of what I'm hoping. You know, we'll see.
Shout out to Stewart of Ostagar here, hiding from Shalo. She's not here right now, is she? I think she's still streaming right now, right? I'm not sure. Podwans Luke says, look at me watching a trailer. I did see your reaction. You were a mess.
Oh, as well you should be.
Yeah, you were kind of like
so amazing.
You're kind of like the Dane Cook bit where you just kind of drop to your knees and bawl, and you're just like, I did my best. That's a deep cut. I'm sorry if anybody here is not familiar with Dane Cook.
I probably watched Luke's reaction an equal amount of times as the actual.
You just, instead of the Obi-Wan Kenobi reactions, you'll put Luke's reaction to Obi-Wan.
This is. I can emotionally handle Luke crying more than I can handle the trailer. So.
Well.
Even said like Luke's reaction is just so. It's just pure unfiltered joy. You know, it's just like raw, like emotion. Like, jeez.
Yeah. You know that week is actually the 2-year anniversary of the High Ground podcast, of the first episode like actually being uploaded. So it's special to me as well. But that was just a random happenstance. No, the trailer though, I don't know. I was elated. Like, they did things to me musically, like just music alone. That you're like, oh, come on, man. Like, don't do this to me, man. Like, it was beautiful.
Were you gonna record a reaction?
No, I work. I can't like. Yeah.
I mean, you could press record. You watched it though, right? You could just press record and just be like, I'm working. Oh my god. Shout out to Cal in the chats. Huge friend of the channel. We just came from there. Oh, you guys just came from Shayla's stream? Right on. So, what stood out to you in the trailer, other than the whole thing? You can't say the whole thing.
Luke. I was not ready for Luke. I really, really, really was not ready for Luke. that hit really, really hard. Especially, I mean, like honestly, anytime I see the Lars Homestead, like outside of A New Hope, it's difficult to say the least. Like even in Attack of the Clones, like watching that again recently, I'm like, oh, this is too much. And then seeing Luke just like Daddy, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this.
And we see the Lars standing right where they're gonna end up, getting blasted.
Good job, Choco.
You made it sad.
You mean crispy bodies by the door, as the song goes?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Julia, standouts.
I mean, there's a lot about it. So I would say that the thing that really stood out to me and really made me excited was the monologue that Quizzy is delivering, because it encapsulates a belief about the Jedi.
Yeah,
You can thank Ollie of RuPaul's Pod Race for that.
Okay.
It's just a great name. His
How
name is
am I
Quizzy.
not
Anyway,
in on this?
but because there's this sort of the idea, for example, of making an Obi-Wan Kenobi show that is like rife with the sort of anti-Jedi sentiment that seems to be percolating around the fandom is like that would have broken my heart, and I think it would have been the opposite of what sort of the Jedi represents for Obi-Wan. It is the thing that gives his life meaning, right? So hearing Quizzy, get used to saying it, just practice, basically reveal that it is a force for good, and that is what about it can be sort of manipulated as a weakness. But the way he's sort of describing the Jedi Code and the way that you can't really just stop being a Jedi, or the fact that it is in their nature to do the right thing. And that was just really a relief to hear, because as sort of, I think Ewan described Obi-Wan as like faithless. As down as he is, he never stopped sort of following the path of the light side of the Force. It was always the thing his life was committed to. So it's important to me that the show have a overall sort of hopeful message. So I am really excited about that, and sort of bridging the gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. This centrality of hope makes perfect sense, right? We're building towards New Hope, literally. Obi-Wan is probably going to start in a really sort of depressed, deliciously sad place, but his whole philosophy is, regardless of his personal feelings, hope remains. And I just was very pleased with that sort of messaging. And then the article or whatever it was that Kathleen Kennedy was saying about, like, making it a show that has in the end a sort of hopefulness to it is important to me. So
Yeah, I made a video like earlier on in my TikTok career, if I can say that, saying that, and it was a very controversial video because people misunderstood it. I said Obi-Wan Kenobi is stronger than Anakin Skywalker, and people were like, but he has less midichlorian, it was all those kinds of comments. But I was positing Obi-Wan had lost everyone he loved right in front of him and never fell. And that takes strength, as we hear in the Clone Wars. It takes strength to resist the dark side, and so he's probably the strongest among people who aren't Yoda and venerable masters. So yeah, like and that monologue you talked about with Quizzy, the Jedi Code is like an itch. I guarantee you there's gonna be people like, see, I knew it, the Sith were right. And it's just like you're clinging on to the wrong message here. Malik, what were your standouts?
So I got two. One short one and one like oh my god one. The short one for me is just seeing Fortress Inquisitorius as a big Fallen Order fan. You're like, oh my god, that's the place, that's it. And like I'm actually I really hope there's a moment when like they're meeting and they just go like, yeah, there was one section that got like major water damage. We had to reinforce the windows. Yeah, don't worry about that. But like I'm also just seeing Inquisitors in live action too. Like, holy crap. And for me, the other bit was just like seeing the scene where like the Inquisitors like terrorizing the population of Tatooine, and just seeing Owen's face. Like, that's when I realized, like, oh wow, Owen's in a really crappy position. And like, I'm very excited for this because like I feel like Owen and Beru are the most underutilized characters in all of Star Wars, because they are the ones that just raise Luke Skywalker, and then they're just kind of like dead, like halfway, like not even like halfway through the movie. And it's just like, wow, there's so much there. Like, you know, like what was it like, you know, being the brother of Anakin Skywalker and like raising this child, and like seeing him, like imagine like knowing like I'm raising this kid, and like I know where this Jedi is, and watch these Inquisitors like, you know, brutalize the population. Like, it's just, I'm very excited to see more of just Owen and Beru and where their heads at and who they are as people.
Yeah.
And obviously they did a good job raising him. We see how Luke turns out. That's not like purely hereditary, you know. You don't get like, you still have to learn your manners and stuff, you know.
Go learn today.
Yeah, there's I won't give spoilers because the book isn't out until April 5th, but Queen's Hope gives a really wonderful expansion on Beru's story that has sort of been building for a while that I really appreciate. And I think anything that sort of gives, a little bit more backstory. I really loved the line in the Entertainment Weekly article where Deborah Chow was talking about, like, thank you, George Lucas, for casting Joel Edgerton as Owen Lars. And it just made me excited because I'm like, yeah, it seems like he's going to have a lot to do. It's also funny because obviously Joel Edgerton ended up like being really successful and like being a sort of, you know, serious actor. And it's kind of funny that George sometimes casts actors who go on to do things and sometimes not. And it really worked out to have him return to this role, it seemed like. And I'm very excited to see him be kind of, I just love the sort of combative relationship he has with Obi-Wan. Because it's totally understandable. It's incredibly stressful to be in this position. And you love and sort of care for this child, and knowing he's in constant danger. And I just am very excited to see them glare at each other in the market. I'm really looking forward to that.
Also, what you said is a great reminder for everyone to go and pre-order Queen's Hope. It comes out on April 5th, and get it. It's a beautiful book.
Yeah. The Queen's trilogy is just wonderful if you just like having what I call vertical narrative on a lot of things, because it's something that is off the beaten path for Star Wars, but it gives you context on a lot of characters that you typically just wouldn't get context for.
Especially because my girl Sabe is coming up. Sabe's popping up in some other places. Sabe is a goddamn badass. Like,
so you got Sabe and Sabe.
Sabe's,
right? Your favorite characters, Saba and Sabe? Sabe
carries the same like strength as Saba 17 from Legends, although she is not a large lizard Jedi master.
Yeah. Sabe's John Wick arc has been very satisfying to me personally.
Shout out to Escape Reality Films. It'll be interesting seeing Kenobi struggle. He couldn't help saving people, according to the journals in the 2015 run of Star Wars. He couldn't help saving Luke either. It'll come up later in the podcast. This is your first clue in terms of the Obi-Wan Kenobi quiz. When Kenobi, saves Luke, because Luke tried to take back water from Jabba. Like, this is ours. Kenobi is just, in the middle of being downtrodden and sullen to the point of like, what do I do? I'm not a Jedi anymore. And that will definitely be an interesting thing to see in the show. AJ, the Starkiller base or SK base, wonders if Obi-Wan will recognize Quizzy or vice versa. Also makes that speech more interesting with the extra context that Quizzy was a Jedi.
I mean,
Absolutely.
Quizzy Prime. It was.
You're welcome, Ollie. I'm spreading the good news of Quizzy.
The good word.
What was always
Yep.
covered up as a Temple Guardian. So I'm not certain how well people knew the other Jedi would know the identities of all the people, but still it could be interesting, especially if you could recognize his fighting style or whatnot. Quizzy most certainly recognizes Obi-Wan though.
And it's
Correct
funny
me if
how
I'm wrong. Quizzy's the one who walks Barrett, right?
He was one of those
Yes.
ones, yes.
it's also
Yeah.
interesting that the temple guards used staff sabers, and the Rafflecopter sabers are staff sabers by proxy. But I don't think that they kind of shunned their identities and took up the mask when they became guards. So I know Kanan didn't recognize him. He recognized him only as the Inquisitor. It's like, oh, you're a Temple Guard? He's like, what I once was. I don't know why I did Ian McKellen, but he was a Temple Guard.
Sure, why not?
It felt like part Ian McKellen and like with like a dash of Richard Nixon.
Just a Temple Guard.
Get those
Let's see here. Straight up the scene of Rey and her parents broke me. Just that's your sacrifice for the sake of protection. This is going to be a very dark, very bleak. Not as bleak as the script that they threw out, as reports are saying, but it's still pretty much going to be a story of survival and galaxy cope for Kenobi in large. But the Inquisitors, man.
So, question: that planet we see, that's not Nar Shaddaa, right?
No, that's Dayu.
Okay.
Brand new planet, just for
Gotcha.
this.
Because I was
It looks very Nar Shaddaa.
It's modeled after
saying,
Hong
I was
Kong.
thinking, oh, is Obi-Wan gonna face off with Gracchus?
So, Dayu could be interpreted as great milk. Because
Sure.
milk in
There's a bunch of
Japanese,
milk signs.
milk in Japanese, I believe, if I remember correctly, is Ginyu. You being the operative radical in that. And Dai being, of course, big or grand. So like Daimyo in Book of Boba Fett, the Great Lord. And there were a whole bunch of signs on that planet in Arabesh that spelt milk. So I'm wondering if that is the planet of blue milk production for the galaxy.
I mean, if you saw Peacemaker, I hope they have a cow there.
Oh no.
You know.
Oh boy.
Those who get it, get it.
Oh no.
Ah,
Ugh.
I'm actually glad that it is a new planet, to be honest. I think we need more planets. We need to stop going to Tatooine, that's for sure.
That's one of the things that I loved about this trailer, though, is we got them off of Tatooine. I love the John Jackson Miller novel of Kenobi. It's a really enjoyable read, but I don't want that story just told again. You know what I mean? Like, I have the book, I've read it. Having this come so close to home and having the Inquisitors show up on Tatooine really gives a it really gives me the vibes of the Ahsoka novel, where she is being hunted by the Inquisitors, and ends up having to leave the planet because she doesn't want to endanger other people. Fortunately, they didn't get their hands on Adala Fardi, because that would break me.
Could she appear?
Well, and that's so clever too, because we were all thinking like, what could possibly get Obi-Wan off of Tatooine? Like he has to protect Luke, and it seems very clever if they're doing what we think they're doing, which is they're there for Obi-Wan. So that's a good excuse for him to be like, follow me, like laying breadcrumbs to get them off of the planet to keep them away from Luke, which, was going to work basically, in terms of a good reason to get him to leave, right? If they don't even know Luke exists, they just, Obi-Wan probably wants to get as far away from him as possible in that case, right? So I thought that was very clever. Seems probably kind of obvious to other people, but to me, I was like, oh yeah, that is smart. I'm curious to see if they're looking specifically for Obi-Wan, if like what he does to get their attention, if something Jedi in general happens. Oh, Jedi in general. That was good, Julia. That was very funny. Does something Jedi happen and then the Inquisitors get notified, or does something specifically Obi-Wan happen? I'm thinking probably well, actually, if I was writing the show, I would have something Jedi happen, and then I would have Vader be like, that's no Jedi. Like, that's a specific Jedi. I think the Inquisitors would bring the report. Yeah, I think they would bring the report, and then Vader would be the one to be like, I think this is something you need to check out, but I can't go because I'll get stuck. So if you guys can please head out. Yeah, but that's, I don't know, I said I wasn't going to speculate, but I'm actually having fun thinking about what could have happened that led Obi-Wan, because I feel like there's a very cliche like superhero in hiding stops falling boulder type of thing, and I want them to do it in a way that seems fresh. So I'm curious sort of how they could, because it is kind of a trope, right? This sort of superpowered individual in hiding, not using their powers because it will draw attention. So yeah, I'm curious to see how that plays out.
I'm hoping that there is another Force-sensitive person on Tatooine that they don't know.
Quinlan Voss.
No.
Ezra Bridger?
Normally, yes. But I want
this time, Ezra would be 11? Born in 19.
Yeah.
No, he'd be
9. 10.
10, right? It's 10 years after Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah. No, but I just mean, like, I feel like there might be, what if there's another Force-sensitive person on the planet who was not quite as careful as Obi-Wan, and that is why they're there. That's who we see them hunt down in the very beginning. That's the legs that we see dangling. And so that's like okay, we got who we came for. Let's check out, let's kick things around, see if there's anything else to find out. And Joel Edgerton's like, all right, you gotta go. Like, you can't be here.
How old do we? Sorry, go ahead, Chase.
The one person that has always come to mind of like, who are we gonna see, especially now the Inquisitors are here, is the person, like you said, who's making the most noise with the Inquisitors right now, would be Cal Kestis. I think he's and look, I can't remember the actor's name. He's the right age to do this right now.
Cameron Monaghan.
Yes. He's the right age to do it.
Yeah.
And he is making a lot of commotion for the Inquisitors. I think we could see a Cal and Obi-Wan figure things out together, maybe on one of these other planets. I don't think we'll see him on Tatooine.
This is true. You'd have to go like...
They have a ginger to ginger moment. They just sort of, they talk about... Cal gives him Fortress Inquisitorius tips, but also hair tips. He's like, your hair is fading in the sun. Here's how you here's the shampoo I use to keep it vibrant.
Make sure to meditate every once in a while and spend your skill points.
In the meantime,
put it into hair.
If you're gonna be on this planet, here's the sunscreen that I use. You see Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, like they're aging up real quick, and you don't want that.
Yeah, exactly. I would jokingly, like over a year ago, one of the first videos I made was like, here's some things I want to see in Obi-Wan, and one of them was him going to the Sephora on Tatooine, and there isn't one. We can tell. There isn't even, someone in my comments said there isn't even a Walgreens. I'm like, that's true. He doesn't seem to have any access to any of his products. and that's really quite sad. But he seems to be doing pretty well, considering he probably can't access the same, the same quality of skincare ingredients he was used to at the temple. And that's, that's got to be, I think like at least a 2-episode arc talking about switching from a high-end moisturizer to a drugstore moisturizer. I think would be really fun.
So uncivilized.
The one arc
as he throws his Jurgens down.
The one arc, and I wouldn't call it an arc. I'd call it an episode. You know how like we got the Mandalorian episode in Book of Boba Fett. The one episode I want in this one that's like the standout. It still involves Obi-Wan, but the episode will just be called Obi-Wan Has a Nice Day. And it's him going to the markets, in Mos Espa, getting food, coming up, like you said, moisturizing. No conflict in the episode. It's a regular length episode. It is an hour long of just, and so he's walking around Mos Espa, and someone goes, "Oh, I love your cloak. It looks so good." And he's like, "Oh, thank you."
And he says, "Like a bantha."
And credits after he just has he goes to bed. And that's it. Credits. Obi-Wan had a nice day.
Well, I said I want to have a morning routine sequence, so I want that could fit in that episode where he wakes up and he has he makes himself some tea. He has a little, breakfast. He pets the Eopies. He rides into town. Yes, absolutely. I think
Yoda calls
just
him
a very
and just like, "Hey, bud, you doing?
How's it
okay?"
going?
Maybe
Qui-Gon calls him and tells him, "I love you, and you're a really good Jedi," and just gives him all the verbal confirmation.
No,
yeah, exactly.
Like Qui-Gon's like, "You have to train and meditate." He's like, "Wow, dude, you look great today. You're
glowing.
I seek.
You were killing it. I love it, man.
I seek 1,000 SPF," and then Yoda just pops in. Looking.
Oh my god.
Based on, and this is sorry, but this is based. Do we think we're gonna get Yoda? And I only say this based on the age of Frank Oz.
I believe Yoda could make an appearance, just not directly involved with. I mean, because Obi-Wan knows that he's on Dagobah.
That's something I'm curious about is Obi-Wan's communications. So was he in contact with Bail? Did he only talk to Bail if it was an emergency? How aware was he of a burgeoning rebellion? Exactly, people like Yoda. I'm thinking Yoda and Bail would be the only two people he would potentially be in contact with that are alive.
Yeah.
So I'm curious.
There was some level of contact alluded to in the From a Certain Point of View Empire book, because they were aware of Leia in some small details of her personality, and I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if they had some way to dead drop information.
Yeah. No, or
Landon had to get a hold of him.
They wouldn't need dead drop. Yoda could theoretically project himself. Just pop in while Ewan's trying to scrape off the dead skin from a day in Tatooine. He's like, "Oh."
He's collecting the skin plates.
Yeah. But we're seeing a lot of
to the whole. I'm sorry, going back to the whole routine thing, I would love it if we get a almost homage to how Luke's routine was on Octo, but have a Tatooine version of it.
Jesus,
with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, I feel like routines are very in Star Wars because Rey had the routine, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so daily routines are super in. I think we will get one. Again, I think it should be a whole episode,
Yeah, that's why they actually. Is that why you got fired from the writing team? Is that because you suggested a whole episode? So that's a really good point. Because that's my favorite scene in The Force Awakens. Certainly, is her routine. And it's such a good way to get to know a character. You learn so much about them, and you get to establish. Where are we? What is their daily life like? And it's just it's exposition in the form of cinema, like visual storytelling. And you're so right. I haven't watched The Last Jedi in a really long time, but I am very excited about that. So Malik, that is thank you for putting that into my brain. I'm so happy.
We have a lot of people in the chat dropping Ferris Olin, and we do know that Siritachi is now canon. So they could do something with Ferris. However, how do they drop him in like without any backstory? Could they just be like, you a Siri, and then allude to like the midday meal thing? You a Siritachi's Padawan. I used to hold her hand under the table.
You know, based on how Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett have done these external characters, and like there plenty of people, like I am just now watching Clone Wars for the first time. I know I'm a horrible Star Wars fan for that. I'm almost done. I just watched spoilers, Satine. Which brings me to this two-part question. Julia, do you think they're going to say her name? And B, how will you be if they do?
No, and haven't considered it. So I like look, so this is a great question, right? So like for like Star Wars fans, Clone Wars is essential viewing. For the average person who goes to the movies to watch the movie, like who is this show for, right? So I'm thinking they're probably trying to appeal to the broadest possible audience, which makes sense in terms of the focus being on Anakin. That being said, we all know what a huge disservice it would be to not bring up characters from these other media that are so important to who he is as a person, right? So people saying like, well, yeah, what about Satine? What about Commander Cody? What about his friendship with Padme? What about Bail Organa? There's just so much there of his person in terms of like talking about people he's lost, right? So it's that is something that I don't have high hopes for. And the reason I say that is not because I don't think they could do it, because if I let myself believe and hope, I will be so sad. So instead, I'm just happy to get what we're gonna get. That being said, I have jokingly sort of thought to myself, like, okay, they could mention Satine by name. They could also mention her obliquely by like the woman you loved, etc. That seems more likely. That being said, I will say if Corky appears in anything, I need to do something drastic. I need to make a deal with the universe. So I'm thinking I should either say I'm gonna like shave my head or get a tattoo, because I don't want to do either of those things. But if I commit to doing either of those two things, I think it actually increases the chances of Corky appearing due to the way just, the galaxy, I think, operates. But no, I think, well, it's so interesting because you bring up the John Jackson Miller novel, and obviously she's mentioned there several times. Like we get that explanation of Ben being a name that she called him. If that was in this show, I think I would actually I would return to the universe. Like I would become one with the Force. Like that specifically is the only thing from Legends I've ever really, really wanted, is that little tie-in, because it was going to be in the Clone Wars, right? It was going to be canonical that she called him Ben, and that's where that name came from. It's in the Legends novel. That specifically, I think, is probably the highest possibility of the way that she could be referenced. I'm sorry, I have so many thoughts about Obi-Wan. I just can't stop.
No apologies. No apologies. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, but like
put you on speed dial or something, so that if it happens, I can be like, okay.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Call 911.
I have so many texts. I've like jokingly said, if like Corky ever appears, for example, it's going to be like the morning of the Oscars and I've been nominated, is kind of how I imagine it will be. And that's how I felt when the trailer came out, because I did have like how many people did a dozen people through various social media be like, hi, are you okay, have you seen the trailer? So that was very fun. But yeah, I just want them to explore the fullness of Obi-Wan's life beyond his relationship with Anakin. Obviously, that failure is probably going to be like the central sort of, thing of the show. But like, there's a lot more there to explore, and I would really love to see it. And that's my TED Talk.
Yeah, I think I think how they have introduced characters like Ahsoka and Cad Bane and Black Chrysanthemum is, like you said, 99% of Star Wars fans just go see the movies, and if they're watching these new shows like The Mandalorian, they are introduced to Ahsoka, they're introduced to Cad Bane, introduced to all these characters without any context, and they do it very successfully. So I think, essentially anyone who is alive at this time, it has the potential of showing up as long as it makes sense, and they will execute it really well.
Yeah.
And they did Bo-Katan very well, and Bo-Katan's a lot harder to explain than a lot of other characters. Am I mad that Bo-Katan has been included and they refuse to acknowledge Satine's existence? Yeah, but they also refuse to say Padme's name. So what am I hoping for here in terms of Star Wars content? The bar is on the floor. So
I mean, I think Bo-Katan is a good connective tissue there, right? Especially with her interactions with Obi-Wan and having been involved in the loss of, or being involved in that arc, and knowing that Bo-Katan now exists in the live action sphere, it could be a very, very interesting through line for that, just like AJ says in the chat. But I imagine that Obi-Wan Kenobi for the most part is going to be a very introspective show for Obi-Wan, and I think it would be a disservice to his character if they did not explore what he's thinking about when he's alone. Does he think about Satine? Does he think about Anakin or Padme or any of his older former acquaintances, and how does that shame, or how does his daily life other than his visits to Sephora affect his psyche?
And are we going to hear Qui-Gon's voice? Because I still maintain that we are, but much later. He's going to talk to him throughout the entire series. And only when he's at his
I've been meaning to reach you about your
both Liam Neeson, but also because he just celebrated his 91st birthday, I really hope James Earl Jones gets one last chance to be in Star Wars. So I really hope he gets another chance.
He might get a sizzle at the very end after Hayden's had a chance, in the series, to act out Vader, and then the ending sizzle. Last episode is him just breathing, and he says one last thing that just kind of dovetails into A New Hope or dovetails into the next project. Yeah, might be him.
Yeah, I mean, he's been so important to Star Wars over the past half a century. It's crazy. So just one last time, is what I really hope.
Yeah.
He's 91.
Dang. When I read some of the ages of the actors I grew up with. Sorry, Malik, you're on you're on a huge delay for some reason, so I don't know when you start speaking.
Hold on, yeah, hold on.
Yeah.
StreamYards is not very nice to me. I don't know why. I've only ever had this issue with StreamYards. Hold on.
Well, this isn't StreamYard, but you have this issue on Discord too. Everyone else is fine, by the way. Don't worry about it. So we'll just stick with Malik and the Jedi symbol.
I mean, if Liam Wars, he sure as hell is gonna do this, right? As a prestige thing, it's much harder to get an actor to do an animated children's show. This is a much bigger, higher visibility thing, and we know that he's fond of the character. So I would, in terms of my rankings of likelihood of appearing, he's probably at the top of my list. Just because that 10-year line from Skywalker, A Family at War, right? It seems they're specifically Easter egging, breadcrumbing that in. So
yeah. Well, I mean, the timeline's matching up with 10 years and 10 years. It's not lost on the writers. They're not going to have an entire show taking place exactly when he finally learns to commune with Qui-Gon and not have Qui-Gon in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
there's
have
no
you been?
way. There's no way the concept of Force Ghost does not get addressed in one way or another in this show. That would be wild.
Where have you been this entire time, Master? Well, I have a very particular set of skills. But yeah, I mean, let's talk a little bit before because we have a quiz for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about the Inquisitors. There are two. There's Quizzy Prime, and then there's Fifth. We know of these two, and we know that they survived the show because they're in Rebels.
Yeah.
So who is Reva or Riva, and who is Kutuni?
I was gonna bring that up earlier. I was like, I can't remember who said it, but Katuni was definitely there, dressed as an Inquisitor, right?
We don't know. But she is the
That's
Lothian.
very sad. So I was gonna say earlier in terms of like, you know, I like the idea of like another Force sensitive on Tatooine causing problems. And I'm wondering, depending on how old, is it Reva or Riva? Do we know?
It was stated as Riva.
Okay.
Riva.
I've heard all that.
Depending on how old Riva is, I could very easily, like, Obi-Wan was a celebrity. He was a Jedi general. He was everywhere during the Clone Wars.
was
He
on
was
the
a
council.
council member. Yeah, exactly. Reva, however old she is, if she was a youngling, she was a Padawan, if she was a Jedi specifically before this, or she would know who he is. So the idea that she's there hunting down someone else and then like turns and there's Obi-Wan Kenobi standing in an alleyway, like, hey, I'm so sorry. Are you right? Like, I'm wondering if it could be a personal thing where she remembers him, if she was in fact a Jedi before this. And I think that would be a really interesting way where like she's just doing her job, hunting down Gary Jedi, and then suddenly Obi-Wan is there. So I'm curious. I depending on seeing how much they're sort of like advertising her character, I imagine she's going to have some sort of backstory that is important. That, you know, before, yeah, I would prefer that she not die, because I think, you know, I don't know, there aren't a lot of Black women in Star Wars, and they don't get, like, I'm thinking of Tandy Newton's character in Solo. She got killed. Like, I think it would be nice if she got a promotion instead of dying at the end of the show. Like, she does a really good job, or even like realizes she's wrong and like defects from the Inquisitors or something. I just think her death would be kind of disappointing. So I don't want her to die.
Yeah, I mean, a case could be made. A case could be made for Obi-Wan to be unrecognizable because of the, you know, the harsh effects of Tatooine on his
Yeah.
aesthetic, so to speak.
I do hope Reva's backstory is that she's a very popular musician and her last name is McIntyre.
You know, I even think she could. Here's an idea: a single mom who
She's
works
had that chambered.
2 jobs.
She's a musician and she's an
works 2
Inquisitor.
jobs.
She loves her kids and she never stops.
Never stops. Who are the kids?
She's a survivor.
So, are we all thinking that it might be Katuni, the Thalothian, the one that we don't know?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, to be fair, we still don't know for certain that it is the Lothian, because, I mean, the
Sorry about that.
tendrils are a little thin. You know, it's like when you get the thin asparagus versus like the thick ones. You know, so it might be a new species altogether, but we'll have to see.
Like, I mean, so the way I rationalize that is live action. But also she's wearing like an implement on her head that kind of like isolates the tendrils in some sort of like design or fashionistic way. So it's like maybe it's like restraining it or something, making them small. But we'll see. I mean, she is early teens in The Gathering, and then 2 years into that's during the Clone Wars. So Early teens. She would be. Yeah, she would be like.
Well, okay.
20s.
Here's my question: Is we've all been obsessing over the cast and trying to point out who people are, because I think that that's Simone Kessel, personally.
I was looking at the cat when I saw her. Yeah.
And she's like almost 50, which is fine. Like, you know, good for her. But I'm thinking of like which actress, like if it is someone who's been in the main cast. I mean, it could be someone who's maybe even not a major character. But yeah, I have been obsessively looking at the cast and like checking off who we know. Like, okay, Hayden, Ewan, Joel, Sung Kang, Rupert Friend, we know. Indira Varma, we know what role at least. Moses Ingram, we know. So it's just like Benny Safdie, O'Shea Jackson Jr. Like there's only a couple now that we don't actually know their role. So I was thinking it could be Simone Kessel, but again, Star Wars ages are so weird. She could still be Katuni. Like, you know, she could. Yeah. I mean, we just had Tamara Morrison playing 20 years younger, so like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, that could be Kumail. You know, we don't know. We have to see that.
I'm of the mind.
Kumail Nanjiani is playing the third sister. That's your. I love that prediction. Very bold.
No, I maintain he's going to be the droid that we see.
Mm-hmm.
Or Asherad Hess.
Oh dear. I'm still reeling from the fact that I didn't get Asherad Het in Book of Boba Fett.
He's too jacked now to not be like, he either needs to be. He's too much of a physical threat to play someone else. You're like, who's that guy? And he's like, oh, I'm just a shopkeep. And you're like, ah, you know. So I feel like he's got to be a droid.
A droid, Camille?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I could see the voice, you know, like looking at past actors like Alan Tudyk and everyone's like, oh yeah, Kumail Nanjiani definitely has that droid. David Tennant, like he definitely has that droid voice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that droid,
I just got to shout out
Dob real quick. That's a clone, right? That he's talking to.
That armor is way too scuffed up to be like a shiny stormtrooper, but yeah, I know who you're talking about. Which clone is it, do you think?
Gregor.
I'm not sure it's a clone, to be honest. I don't want to get my hopes up on that one.
Do you think we get a live action Rex in this or in Ahsoka?
Ahsoka.
Makes more sense in Ahsoka.
Yeah, I don't see it in this. And I was like, it would make sense if he was one of the remaining clones that's out there that we're not sure what they're doing right now, like Gregor Wolf, or if or if it was. I mean, I don't think it'd be Cody because Cody's with them, unless he like went strong for a few years and then was like, you know, I'm gonna resign.
Well, just because I want to give, as Fern is saying, I want to give all the Cody stands some something to work with here. If he's saying where, you know, where he could be, like the idea that Cody failed in a sense, right? Like if they start to think Obi-Wan is alive, who are they going to immediately go ask about, like, hey, did you not kill the Jedi like you were supposed to? What happened? Almost like a debriefing 10 years later, being like, actually, he's alive. What happens? Like, you know, so it does actually make sense to me that if they're trying to find Obi-Wan to like track down, could this guy on Tatooine be him? They're going to go ask the person that was supposed to kill him and doesn't realize maybe he's like, well, I blew up the rock and then like, you know, he fell, but I did give him his lightsaber immediately before that. Don't worry about it. So I actually think that makes sense to me in terms of like, if it's like they're tracking someone, they're going to, one of the people who last saw him, right? And that would be Cody. So that's my pitch.
Which I always maintain is one of my favorite lines from the Revenge of the Sith novelization is like, I wish I hadn't given him back his bloody lightsaber.
I know this might sound dark, but I could definitely see if we do get a clone. Yes, I think you're right. It would be Cody, but it would be the end of Cody if they find out Obi-Wan is alive.
Yeah.
And a Vader or one of the Inquisitors would be like, "You have failed, and you told us you didn't," and just
yeah.
A case can be made where Cody lost his hand because of it. I mean, because in the trailer that is a prosthetic on the clone trooper.
You know that meme that's like at the arena, it says everyone's doing a great job except for Cody? I want to see that meme in the I think it would be fun to make that in real life.
He has no access to the cleaning materials for his armor.
No.
It's crazy.
A character what was there? A character I would love to see show up that I feel like I'm the only one who ever said this, but like Rail Avarice, like just for like the moment, like, oh yeah, we both did the unthinkable to our students, you know, and also like the connection to Qui-Gon as well.
Could be. Yeah. I don't see him showing up though.
The character that I want to show up that won't show up would be, I might get the name, Prosit, the Mira Lucan Inquisitor.
10th brother. Yeah.
Yeah. I want Prosit is my favorite species of.
So Prosit,
he died. He did. He did.
Spoiler alert, by the way.
Wreck on it. I just want to see a live action Mira Luca. That's all I want.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because he's the only Jedi Master. Right? Because Quizzy was a temple guard, but he was made a temple guard as a knight. And Prosodips was a master. And he wasn't the Grand Inquisitor. Well, that's just because he died to order. he was cannon fodder, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mean, did you say Prosodips was your favorite character, or just your favorite species, Mira Luca?
Mira Luca is my favorite species in Star Wars.
Yeah.
I just want a real one. He's the closest one. He's an Inquisitor, so.
Really quickly in the chat, Ram's House says, "What would you guys think of Starkiller as an Inquisitor?" I think Starkiller is a great Legends character, but people need to stop trying to insert Galen Merrick could definitely be a character in another timeline, but trying to insert a very integral original trilogy character in Legends into canon original trilogy, it is way too messy. Right.
I think the fans of that character would be very angry if that happened, and then so I wouldn't touch it. But I am curious because there are some fake people that they could toss in, like Case Barradoon, who is on the list of Jedi survivors, but doesn't have a character attached to him. And like, so people asked for years, like, who is this person? And the story group was like, sometimes we just like make inside jokes or like memes and stuff in these. But that was one of the Arabesh names that is on a list of Jedi survivors.
Much like Alus Selrak or Charles Soule backwards. He's like,
well, that could be who's on Tatooine.
He's like the one of the godfathers of Star Wars comics, and he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna be a survivor. Let me just put this in there. And another one too was like the artist, right, or the penciler on that list.
Yeah, they always took. Yeah.
I wanted to ask you guys when they're on the Daija, right? Is what it's called? The deep Daiju, yeah. That like marking that we see the hand like go over. Does that look High Republic to you guys?
But it's the Jedi crest, isn't it?
That's what I thought.
Say that again.
It just looked a little like different. Sorry, like the crest that like the hand goes over.
It had the yeah, it definitely looks like the High Republic version. You know what? I just ordered. I'm going to Disney World on Monday, and I ordered a mask, and it's that, isn't it? Pretty much.
I'm gonna have to watch it again.
It looked
except the thing in the middle is the Jedi, but it has the things on the side.
it just looked different from like the original, like the regular Jedi crest. I'm like, wait a second.
It did look different. I just assumed it was because it was hand drawn, and so I didn't look deeper than that myself.
Also, look at how great this High Republic mask is.
That's a great mask.
Isn't it great? Closed by Craig with a K. Thank you for your mask.
Nice.
Also,
There you go.
But it is interesting, especially considering how they're trying to really suppress any knowledge or history of the Jedi, and we're getting some of that in Crimson Reign. Getting some more info on that if y'all are up to date on that, and having people. I mean, that's like a rebellious thing, and so I think that's how they're going to track it down to any Jedi sympathizers, and then Obi-Wan's going to have to make that choice. Speaking of which, the character in the alley that Reaver walks up to, I don't believe that's Obi-Wan, mostly because it's a different gun. It's not the same gun that we see him use on the roof a second later. I think that is who was shooting at him, and I think they're using that person as an informant.
Attention to detail. I like it. Let's see here. Here's a question, you guys, from Luke. Are you guys okay with how Vader wasn't seen in the trailer? Because I think they should not show very much of him except for breathing or maybe a line. Yeah. Vader works best when he's looming. That's all.
I want Hayden to have his moment in the show. I want us to be surprised when we see him.
Yeah.
He needs to be this ethereal threat that materializes. That's what happens in Fallen Order. And that's essentially his first appearance in A New Hope as well. And that's him in Rogue One. I think we need to keep that going, where he's just, at some point, Obi-Wan's going to be like, "Where are you?" And he's like, "Here."
He just needs to stay making incredible entrances. He's got the riding down on the TIE fighter and then breathing and jumping down a platform behind Inquisitor. Or I think that's a second sister. Yeah. And okay, so here's
next entrance is a magician with a sheet that he shakes, and then when it drops, it's Vader behind it, and he's like, "Oh!"
A real question though for you guys: what's his next entrance like?
It's Obi-Wan's birthday. They have a giant cake.
Oh no!
Happy birthday!
Imagine Vader appearing out of a cake and saying, "Happy birthday, Master."
He's gonna say hello.
No, but realistically, we treat him like the shark in Jaws. I think that is the best use of your Vader. I love. There's just so many good ways that he could be revealed. I love the idea of like them returning to the fortress after maybe like a failed mission, and you can see the fear, you can like smell the fear on them, because they're like, at any moment we messed up and Vader could show up and like destroy us because we failed. And sort of almost like a horror movie where like that this threat is around, but you sort of get jump scared by Vader in the Fortress Inquisitorius. Could be fun. But I think
this is what I know this isn't what you meant, but I'm picturing like the classic James Bond moment when the person just walks into the quarters and then Vader's just sitting in the corner like this. Just with his saber pointing at them like the gun, but a saber. He's just like, "You have failed me, Inquisitor."
He's Patty Rook.
Yeah.
The way I want to see it, and this is, I don't know, this might be stupid, but dark alleyway, right, back alleys, you hear the lightsaber ignition, and you look and you see the red saber coming at you, but he's ignited it with the Force. He's actually behind Obi-Wan, and so the lightsaber flies into his hand, and he's standing behind him, and then clicks the respirator back on.
That's cool.
I definitely think the first time we see Vader, it will be with Obi-Wan. I don't think we're gonna see him with like an Inquisitor or anything like that. I think they will save just that moment. You're seeing Vader now, and it'll be Hayden Christensen, but Ewan will be there. and they will
Certain
share.
of
Do you
that.
think we'll see Hayden as Anakin before that?
No, I think he'll be in the mask. I think they will have the Kylo Ren moment. I think he will take it off as like to show Obi-Wan what you did to me. This is why I'm gonna kill you right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll hear the breathing first probably. He'll be fully suited, and once Obi-Wan and him are like locking eyes, basically, he'll take off his mask.
Yeah, I think for in large part the Inquisitors are just gonna have like their meetings and stuff, and they're just gonna keep on saying like, oh, Lord Vader is you know, it's always looming on my shoulder. I can't do my work. It's like, well, you have to stop clocking out early, and then, you know, just having these conversations.
Who's gonna
This
call
meeting
me?
could have been an email.
We lost Obi-Wan again. Who's gonna call him? Like, I called him last time. You gotta call him this time.
Vader's leaning over the fifth brother like, yeah, we're gonna need you to come in this weekend.
I have a job to do, and that's all. Okay. We keep losing Malik. Hopefully he'll be around for the quiz, because we're going into the quiz.
I'm really bad at quizzes. I want you to know that.
We are winding down now on this episode. Malik, how you doing, man? How you doing? You all right? Yeah?
That's great.
Love you, Malik.
Hi. Sorry.
I mean, we're about to do the quiz for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I mean,
The trophy's pre-engraved with Julia's name, so.
No,
yeah.
no, I'm definitely not gonna do well now. Oh man.
You'll do better than me, I promise.
It's in C#. It says, if not Julia, else Julia.
I thought you were talking about a musical key, and I'm like, that's not how we did this.
Okay, so let's head on over. Well, no, I'm going to hit continue on this and start the quiz. And we are going to go to the browser view, and I'm going to give everyone the link
All the
to
answers are correct.
the quiz. And we're going to mute this music. By the way, I've been trying a new way to share music with the call. I'm hoping everyone has been hearing it.
It's been really low, but I've been able to hear it.
Okay, so the quiz is as follows. Joinmyquiz.com. The code is 798714. This is an Obi-Wan Kenobi quiz dedicated to Obi-Wan Kenobi.
It's kind of unfortunate that the quiz is not dedicated to Quizzy, but
Yeah.
you know, we'll get there.
We'll get
True
there.
tragedy.
Who's Sunflower Sneedly? Taro Tarzan. I'm gonna use some of these names for like a D&D campaign. Quincy Krupp.
They're pretty good. I'm Quincy Krupp, attorney at law.
You said who's Sunflower Sneedly, and I'm like, that's the first question? What?
Mulberry Twist, Basil Buendia, Acorn Artemis. Oh my gosh, these are such great names. Ginger Gale.
That's me.
Ooh.
Fitting, right?
Okay. Someone tell Cal to take notes. Yes, Cal, if you can, please take notes on these wonderful names. I think my favorite one is Beat Brown for some reason.
Beat Brown just sounds like a
I'm gonna-
sick-ass blues musician.
I'm gonna rejoin on the app because I'm worried about my browser. So I am joining again. So I'm not gonna be Quiz Krupp anymore.
Quincy Krupp.
Yeah. I am now Semolina Everdeen.
That is a great name.
That's
This one's great.
Yeah, pretty great.
We'll give everyone. Can you post the link in the comments? Sure. I think it is just this. Code 798.
Throwback to Ginger Darth Choco. Yeah, I forgot about that. I was happy to have forgotten.
Gooseberry Hatcher. Oh, you also had White Darth Choco, right? Darth White Choco?
Yeah, that was different. No, Ginger Darth Choco was like my lighting freaked out and I looked like a ginger on during one of my lives.
Jeez.
I like these icons. I've never done this. I like this happy little microphone and this crazy popsicle. This is fantastic.
I heard Salmonella Everdeen and was really confused. It could work either way. Oka Omu. Interesting.
Oka Omu.
We'll give you guys about a minute and a half to join this. Nidra, please join the quiz if you can. We'll give you guys another minute and a half and then we'll start. Dandelion Dent is what Harvey Dent was called back in the heyday. Before he became the hard-ass DA.
Can you guys hear me okay? So sorry.
You can, just can't see you. So you're like Vader.
Okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah, gotcha. I get StreamYards just hates me for some reason. I'm so sorry.
This isn't StreamYards, but we'll just say the internet hates you. Oka
Or
Omu
whatever.
is me.
Video, my God. Video, whatever. I'm sorry. I'm thrown off.
It's okay. They probably all hate you at this point. Ordered the Adventures in Wild Space books. Anyone read them? I don't think I have. Actually.
Adventures in Wild Space? When they first came out. There's a couple good nuggets in there.
92? 89? I'm guessing here.
Huh?
I'm guessing when it came out. Nidra's drunk, so whoops. Yeah. We got a fenugreek snowball. This is fantastic. Leave it in the chat if you guys aren't in yet, and then we'll start. Just say hold on in the chat if you're still trying to join this quiz. Okay. Kevin Scott's by Kevin Scott. Okay. I'll have to check into it. Thank you, Connor. Looks like Nidra is Snowball. If there's anyone... Okay, so it doesn't look like anybody is saying in the chat that they're waiting to get in. So let us start this quiz, and I believe Choco is, in fact, proctoring this.
Indeed.
Here we go.
All right. When was Obi-Wan Kenobi born? In 41 BBY, and 52 BBY, 57 BBY, or 60 BBY? When was Obi-Wan Kenobi born?
I picked the wrong answer. Oh my god.
It should be easy if you know when Anakin was born.
All right. He was born in 57 BBY.
Of course.
I'm supposed to
Semolina
get
Everdeen.
these. I'm supposed to get these wrong. My bad. I got excited. All right. My bad.
All right.
Okay, question number 2. Who did Obi-Wan defeat to become a Jedi Knight? Asajj Ventress, Darth Tyrannus, Darth Maul, or Savage Opress?
Question: is this like Kahoot where it matters how quickly you answer, or am I stressing myself out for no reason? Okay, cool.
Oh, okay. Great.
Look, I'm good at 2 things: taking tests and having ADHD fast twitch muscles. So unfortunately, I've simply been born into a position where I am good at this type of game.
Oh, Nidra lost the window. No.
Oh no.
Okay. Not bad at all. Everyone got it right.
This is way less stressful than I thought it was going to be. I thought you were gonna, like, sting
Obi-Wan
us.
Kenobi became a High Jedi General in command of the Open Circle Fleet, the 3rd Systems Army, and the 213th Battalion, Alpha 2 Squad, 7th Sky Corps, or Breakout Squad.
She's like, I had this answered already before the question came up.
Sorry, not everyone's brain is broken.
All right, it was the 7th Sky Corps.
See, I got that one wrong because I don't know anything about clones.
Yeah, that's like
Ooh.
a big lacking part of my Star Wars
So
knowledge.
the
So
battalion.
he was in the 212th Battalion, and that
Mm.
was a red herring on Pep's part.
Gotcha.
The 212th Battalion was a battalion of the 7th Sky Corps. But yes, that was tricky on my part. I apologize.
You're so insidious.
Tricky Richard. Who trained Obi-Wan Kenobi in lightsaber combat? Was it Eth Koth, Sindralig, Seishi Tin, or Depa Balaba?
Depa Billaba.
Depa Billaba.
Oh, I just...
I'm in my chill zone. Thanks, lads and lasses. Connor's gonna Gundun quiz.
Oh man,
He's gonna die.
I changed it from Cinderella. Oh man, I had it right the first. Well, you know,
Yeah, it was Sindralig.
that's rough.
Cinderlig.
He's got this Cinderlig.
I'm just saying it as Depa Billaba.
Yeah.
I was thinking about a comment I made earlier, and the comment would also just tie into the fact that the Abednitos are completely Beastie Boy references through and through. So Reva has huge potential to become a McIntyre. Now that I have thought more on that.
Good on you. Good on
Yeah.
you for that. Next question.
All right. During the mission to Teth, Obi-Wan was captured by Wanbo the Hutt's major domo, Thurible, Garsa Fwip, Kababais, or Mak Shais.
How many people are doing this quiz right now?
All of them.
16, it looks like.
Oh, good.
If you read Master and Apprentice, you have a leg up.
Nice.
All right. The answer, of course, is Thurible.
Of course.
Of course, everyone's favorite Star Wars character, Major Domo Thurible.
I like this spread of answers, though. Garza Fwip was in Book of Boba Fett. Kababais died to Din Djarin, and Mak Shaiz was the major domo of the mayor. Next question.
Yeah. All people from Book of Boba Fett. Who did Obi-Wan hold hands with secretly at midday meal as a Padawan? Type in your answer.
This is the first time I've used fill in the blank.
Zero the Hutt.
Quinlan Vos.
bottom of my fluid sack.
Let's see how many
I had to
people
pick up
watch
my
our
phone.
videos.
I was not prepared for that. I wasn't prepared for having to pick up my phone to type.
The answer was Siri Tachi.
My favorite AI.
Hey, we got a couple of people who got it right.
Unfortunately, I put in Pep's mom, so I got it wrong.
You guys got to watch our videos more.
We also said it in this episode.
Yes, we did.
How long did Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan spend on Mandalore protecting Duchess Satine Kryze? Was it 1 year? Was it 6 months? Was it 6 weeks? Or was it 2 years?
Someone had it auto-corrected on them, but it was wrong anyway. Okay. Fill in the blank is very rude. I'm sorry.
I'm really hoping that the comics, one of them, since they're going to be like the major stages of his life, one of them is going to be Padawan missions. If that's the Padawan mission, I'll eat my hat. Like, I'm really excited for that comic series.
Yeah.
Especially like 8-year-old Obi-Wan as being like the earliest we get to see him in that series. I'm so excited.
It was referred to as a year on the run. They were there for 1 year.
Is Siri Tachi from Age of Republic? No, she's from the book From a Certain Point of View.
She's originally from the Jedi Princess series.
Originally Legends character.
Which planet did Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan prevent the Crown Princess fan ring from restoring a full monarchy? Was it Pygel, Naboo, Teth, or Draboon? I just pictured Dominic Toretto saying, "This is Draboon."
Draboon is where Obi-Wan dropped Satine, and she has a scar from Venom Mites.
Indeed. And the correct answer was Pygel. Princess Fanry was an awesome character.
I also thought about doing the Draboon question.
In the mission to Delanor, Obi-Wan met a mistress named Clatrief. What was her species? Thalothian, Twi'lek, Ithorian, or Togruta?
What's up, Nedrex? Thanks for tuning in. Also, welcome to Got That PMA 90.
All right. And it was a Togruta. Somalia Everdeen.
Somalia? Somalia?
Somalia. Whatever.
Katniss's lesser-known sister.
Yeah. Let's go.
In which system did Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Ahsoka go to when they encountered the Mortis gods? Were they going to Bothawai, Krilithium, Axum, or Sicarpus Major? Oh god, I butchered all of those. I'm sorry.
That was, a lot of people know this. That is my least favorite arc of Clone Wars.
Interesting. We'll have to talk about it one of these days.
One of these days. We're gonna talk about that in Alphabet Squadron.
One of these days. Julia still in the lead. There was a Krelithium. Sir Carpus Major. Okay, I was wondering why he was struggling.
Finish this quote. You can kill me, but you will never destroy me. It takes blank to resist the dark side. Only the weak embrace it.
Look at that typo.
Is it discipline, strength, power, or courage that it takes to resist the dark side? Only. Only.
I have started eating Thin Mints again. I'm sorry, they're sitting right next to me. I can't
Thin Mints are
resist.
great.
I got tagalongs. I can.
Filipinos call it Tagalogs.
Not Tagalogs.
My English teacher would say the clue here is in only the weak embrace it. There's a, you know what I mean? That's how you know. If you didn't know, you could probably make a pretty good guess based on what would go well with weak.
Yeah.
And it's strength.
Take notes from Julia. Star Wars English class.
No.
Finish this quote. If you define yourself by your power to take life, the desire to blink, to possess, then you have nothing. The desire to torture, oppress, kill, or dominate.
Extra points if you know where this quote is from.
Star Wars.
Yeah, did Obi-Wan say it?
Yes. You're so confident in taking this quiz, I can't even tell if you're like sarcastically asking if Obi-Wan said it. I was like, yes, he did.
Yes, if you define yourself by the power to take life, the desire to dominate, to possess, then you have nothing.
This was in Twin Sons towards Darth Maul, or Maul at this point.
Oh, I went down.
What lightsaber form did Obi-Wan use to bait Maul into making a mistake? Niman, Suresu, Ataru, or Djimso?
Lightsaber form questions.
Remember, this is which one he used to bait Maul into making a mistake. Yes, he used Ataru.
Wow, okay. Obi-Wan does use Surisu, but he shifted into Qui-Gon's Ataru form.
In order to bait.
Yes. Also, a question for Julia. Would an English class in Star Wars be Aurebesh class or basic?
Well, Aurebesh is the alphabet, so it would be basic.
There you go.
Right? That would be my guess. Unless you're specifically, like...
Yes, you're
about,
the one
like,
that's... you're teaching it.
Well, if it's about this script or, like, the writing of it, potentially, but... They also have the Latin alphabet in Star Wars, though, so that's kind of... It makes my brain hurt a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, God, what do they call
it's
it?
weird.
Like the classic alphabet or something?
Yeah, it's something like that, yeah.
And then Vader
Commune?
has like Hebrew words written on them. It's weird.
That's how they get like X-wing and Y-wing. Is they?
Disguised as Reiko Hardeen, who did Kenobi temporarily partner with to escape the detention center? Was it Bosk, Embo, Dengar, or Cad Bane?
Do we want a Rocco Hardeen fun fact?
Sure.
Bald Obi-Wan is terrifying.
Rocco Hardeen is from Concord Dawn, right?
Supposedly.
I believe he's from Concord Dawn. Yeah. That's my fun fact.
A lot of people, such as Django, claim to be from Concord Dawn.
Oh.
I don't know. It's a weird thing to include in like source books. Django Fett is from Concord Dawn, although that has never been confirmed. I'm like, okay.
They're gatekeeping it so hard.
The answer, of course, was Cad Bane.
Cobb Vanth. Who accompanied Obi-Wan on the mission to Bray? Was it Depa Billaba, Ayla Secura, Shakti, or Adi Gallia? Mission to Bray.
Chase, you should be getting most of these, considering you're kind of just off of the Clone Wars bus a little bit, you know?
I think some of them, but like so my experience with the Clone Wars was I was like 21 when it aired, and I couldn't get into it. I tried. I think once the series had like kind of like finished up, I tried getting back into it before season 7 came out, and I tried so many. Season 1 is just rough.
Yeah, it is.
I hate to tell anyone who really likes season 1, but I had the hardest time getting through that. And now that I'm halfway done with season 6. I got a running joke with Harris Productions that I will stop at the second to last episode of season 7 and just tell people like, yeah, I just couldn't get into it, so I stopped watching.
Oh, jeez.
Am I misremembering? Yeah. Doesn't Adigalia die in this episode, or is this where? Right.
Yeah. This is where she messes with the bull.
Yeah. Okay. I thought so. I just couldn't remember.
To do this.
I did. It was an obligation. I actually had a video I was going to post, and it was juxtaposing that with what happened to Krillin in Dragon Ball Z.
Oh,
and I was like, no, never mind. English Frieza makes this too sexual.
Connor, go ahead and drop your podcast link for sure. Absolutely. Nidra is dead ass last now. I am so sorry. But it's okay as long as you're having fun.
But yeah, season 5 and 6.
Finish the quote. I lost someone important to me, and I understand blank in a way I never have. I understand suffering, anger, pain, or regret.
I mean, I would say all 4 are true in the sense that Obi-Wan has suffered all of those things at some point in his life.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is why it's not a conceptual question and just what the quote says.
Choose all that apply.
Someone asked, anyone apart from me and Xanatos wrestling fans? Malik is, however, we've lost him. Yes, it was anger. That's a quote, but yes, all of these do apply conceptually.
Finish this quote. We will each be challenged, our trust, our faith, our blank, but we must persevere, and in time, I believe a new hope will emerge. Is it our will, our friendships, our integrity, or our bonds?
Do we think that's a Star Wars reference? A New Hope will emerge?
I think so, just a little bit though.
I thought it was a financial reference. They had will and bonds. The answer is our friendships.
Do not return to the temple. That time has passed.
Oh, that's my second choice.
All right.
Second to last question, or sorry, third to last question. How long did it take Obi-Wan to finally commune with Qui-Gon? 10 years? 5 years? 19 years? Or 2 years?
Okay. Malik can't hear anyone but Choco.
Ah, good for you. I think that's probably for the best. Listen to the sound of my voice. It was 10 years, which is aligning with Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show.
Yes. Exactly 10 people got 10 years. Serendipity.
Obi-Wan rescues Luke during his attempt to retake stolen water by Jabba the Hutt. How old was Luke? Was he 8, 9, 12, or 14?
Luke, you rascal.
I do not know this, sir.
You were much like your father before any of this went down.
Luke was 8 years old.
Ooh. Some shifts in the leaderboard.
All right. And it has all come down to this moment. This magic moment. How much did Obi-Wan offer to pay Han up front for their passage to Alderaan? 2,000 credits, 10,000 credits, 1,200 credits, or 5,000 credits?
I was really hoping the last question would be, is Obi-Wan's son?
That's a whole nother quiz.
Yeah.
All right, he offered 2,000 credits up front.
What if we get a Maurice type episode?
Is there
Yep.
a next question? I don't think there is there?
No.
Nope, that was 20 out of 20. But we do need some sort of Maury in Star Wars. I think that would be amazing. I'm just picturing like Bo-Katan's on an episode and they're like, the ghost of Satine, and then you're like, what?
I've been playing a lot of Sims recently, and I do have a ghost of Satine who is around. So it's very fun. So she appears every once in a while. Obi-Wan calls Sims Corky all the time. Like it's actually hilarious how often I'm playing as Corky, and it's like, Obi-Wan Kenobi is calling. Do you want to answer? And I'm like, I'm busy, but I guess I'll talk to you. It's fine. So it's been a good time.
I love seeing people's Star Wars Sims. Who is it? Marin Kestis with her Raylo couple that's like wandering around, and it's hilarious.
So in first place was Somalia Everdeen. And I do believe Fern was Blueberry Bloom in 7th place. There's nothing wrong with 7th. 7th is a great place to be in.
It's a lucky number.
Choco, give me some virtual knuckles, man.
Yeah, I can't see the window at the moment.
Okay. Let me shift back. Whoop.
Yeah, Knuckles.
Oh, yeah, well, that was Connor. Who are you trying to give the knuckles to?
Oh, I missed the comment. You said give me virtual knuckles, man, and I didn't know who it was. I thought it was you.
Yeah, okay.
And I only had the quiz window up.
Okay, so congratulations to those who won. Of course, Julia was the pick from the start to get to win that one. Good job to everybody. Again, trivia is just for fun. This isn't any kind of way to.
Sorry, that's my dog. Sorry, that's
Ravenous dog.
Buster, come here. Buster.
Okay. Let's see here. It's going to throw it out of the loop, but boink. Sorry.
Sir, do you have any thoughts for the podcast, sir?
For those listening to audio only, that was the dog sniffing with the snout. Just the. Okay, so that Bust, as Fern says in the chat. Buster is his name, or their name?
Yeah, This is Buster.
It's a cute little dog. Okay, so we're out of time. That'll do it for this episode of Dyad in the Force. Chase, do you have any final thoughts? Any final words?
I mean, as far as Kenobi goes, Julia, you were saying that Obi-Wan is like faithless in this series, is how they're describing it, and I think I have the biggest hope, and I think it's going to be a very religious and /spiritual show, where we will see the Jedi as the religion, not as the military force and the protectors. We will see them as the religion in this show, and I'm very, very excited for that.
Yeah. And Julia, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I agree. I like I said, obviously the show, there's so much coming out too that's beyond the show. We've got Brotherhood, Padawan, the 5-issue comic series. Like, it's just so exciting to get all of this stuff about Obi-Wan. Fern and I talk about a lot how Obi-Wan seems incapable of telling his own story in terms of having to actually face the reality of his life. So we're interested to see how seeing things really truly from his point of view will be really fascinating, because he's been the secondary character or the supporting character or the character who's been sort of given this duty to care for others. So I'm really, really interested in terms of even just like the filmmaking, in terms of how we see things from his point of view. So I'm very excited. Again, this isn't real. It's all just a prank by Lucasfilm, but it's fun anyway. So yeah.
We would normally go to Malik, but I still don't think he's here. He's in the call, just being Vader.
What are you doing?
Choco, any final thoughts?
Yeah, one of the things I'm looking forward to is this Obi-Wan's going to be in the dumps, like trying to pay penance for something that Anakin chose of his own, volition. And so it's going to be interesting watching him come to terms with everything that has happened and what his responsibility is and what Anakin's responsibility is. And who knows, maybe that might enlighten some people in the fan base. But we'll find out, the true meaning of what it is to be a Jedi and how important to the character of Obi-Wan it is. Also, I want resolution to the line, Obi-Wan once thought as you did. He's got to approach and try to bring him back, and it's not gonna work.
Yeah. Okay, well, we are out of time for this. Malik, if we could hear you, if you're in the chat, you can post your final thoughts in the chat. I'm so sorry that we couldn't include you in the final moments of this podcast. But I will say, just off the record, out of character, get better internet. And
also, this is not StreamYards, but shout out to Malik, who is the Jedi Smark on TikTok. He also hosts a podcast called Ha. It's a podcast. Check out Malik and his stuff, because it's a great guy, and we love him here in the community.
Absolutely. Shout out also to Connor's Nerdy Gunners podcast, the Podwans podcast, Beings of the Galaxy, Too Black, Too Nerdy, Star Wars English. I was gonna give Julia that chance to drop that plug. Let's see here. Who else has a podcast?
Chase will give you a chance to plug yours as well.
The High Ground, of course. What do you got going on? What do you got going on in the High Ground next week?
Well, this is Women's History Month. Why I didn't do my women's episode this past week, I don't know, but it's coming up this week. So stay tuned. We will have some amazing ladies of the galaxy and a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Roger Dodger. Also, Dark Side Divas podcast. I'm trying to think of them off the top of my head. Let's see. They Fly Now. Lots of podcasts. Lots of Dyads. which is awesome. We were like the dyad in the forest, and everyone was like, we're dyads too. Like, yay. I say that as graciously as I can. Chase, final plugs, any projects you wanna let everyone in on?
No, I mean, I've been off of TikTok a little bit. That's just because of work, so that should be changing soon. Trying to move positions, so hopefully I'll be back actively posting on TikTok. But yes, you can follow me at Forward Into the Black on TikTok. You can watch tomorrow, Rogue Council will be talking about the Revenge of the Sith movie that I just rewatched. Now with the Clone Wars in the background, it's a very different movie. So we'll be talking about that. My co-host Xanatos, or David, we'll be talking about that with him, and my good friend Roddy. But yeah, and then on Monday I'll be hanging out with the people at They Fly Now. So I have a very busy podcast weekend.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Also, Conspiracy Cantina, yes. And then Julia, any plugs before we go?
Yeah, follow Buster on Instagram. It's Buster Cairn, Cairn. He has an Instagram where you can see cute pictures of Buster. Buster, do you have anything you want to plug? Okay. At Julia Christine 77 on TikTok, Star Wars English Class podcast. Again, we're sort of taking a break, getting ready for season 2. I just posted on TikTok in my link in my bio. You can access my Obi-Wan Kenobi playlist if you want some just vibes that are very overwhelming. And then probably more useful is my Obi-Wan Kenobi Clone Wars viewing guide. So my sort of picks for what you should watch with the Clone Wars if you just want to get Obi-Wan's story. And then I have an entire Obi-Wan canon reading guide, or like canon viewing guide, like everything canon that Obi-Wan is in so far, that I need to make a video about soon. So look for those if you want to get caught up on this guy I know too much about.
Yes. Follow everyone on our panel, including Malik, who unfortunately can't join us for the last word. I really like this Instagram bio. I'm Buster, and I'm just a little guy.
I mean,
yeah, he's a little guy. All right. Well, if nothing else, thank you to our Squadron 7 members, as well as I go to their little neck of the woods, the hangar, as it were. St. Pat's, Sanatos 1138, Pi, Kiosco Hecho, Grandmaster Bale, Harith Productions, DePaul, Mentally Ill Sith Lord, Gray, Levi Bond, Masa, X-Core Gamer Skills, Cal4, Car2D2, Corellia Coffee Works, Brian with the Brian underscore with underscore the underscore beard. Darth Choco, Jordy Jedi, Connor, Arya L, Escape Reality Films, Johnsky, Julia Christine, Boba Fett, Master Yoro, and Star Wars Scholar, Star Wars Lawyer, B Dazzler, Bahadwan's Podcast, Kenobi. Kenobi is also a Squadron 7 member. Mabe, Margie Skywalker, and Bariqua Wookie, Soda Man, Forward Into the Black, which is Chase here, and then Nedrex, Steward of Ostagar. I was about to say Steward of Gondor. Steward of Gondor.
Wow, Denethor is wow, that's impressive. Denethor, welcome to Squadron 7.
Absolutely. And then Jonathan P, Bruce, Greatstorm, and Malik, Jedi's Mark. Thank you guys so much for your support, and without you guys we couldn't continue to do this every week, but I believe that is the end. On to the next one.
For Light and for Life,
we are all the Republic,
and may the Force be with you.
there is no try. Do or do not. There is no try.